Yeah, awesome. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome our special guest feature to begin the program, Mr. Valamlanda. Mr. Valamlanda, please, sir, address us.
Good evening. I really appreciate the YMCA Zambia for according me this rare opportunity. Am I audible enough?
Very audible, sir.
Yes. I would like to thank you so much to YMCA Zambia for according me this rare time opportunity to interact with my fellow young men on the continent of Africa. Thank you very much on manifesting the God kind of character. I love this theme of tonight. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mlanda. So here is what we do. Here's what we do in our program. We will have a good 20 to 25 minutes of Mr. Mlanda sharing his perspectives relating to the topic that we have. Then after that, we'll have an open discussion where we ask ourselves questions relating to the topic that we have. Then we can have people that will pitch in their perspectives. Then we just have that discussion around the topic. The basic idea of manifesting the God kind character masterclass is that we feature young people that are doing amazing things that reflect the God kind character, that we may tap from their character, the principles, the values, that we may also begin to shape ours in a similar way and reflect the God kind character. So we will give you a good 20 to 25 minutes, Mr. Mlanda, to just currently share from what you're doing, the impact of the God kind character, and how you would reference it to be of great value for the young people. Then afterwards, we will go into an open discussions, questions, and answers, and that kind of thing. Over to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Zach. I really appreciate. Can you just kindly pin me if it is possible? I want to see the flaming of my video. Just kindly pin me. Mr. Zach. Mr. Zach.
Yes, Mr. Mlan.
Yes, can you just kindly pin my video? I want to see how my video is.
Okay, let me do this. Okay, cool.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just put it here like that. Thank you very much. So I would like to thank you so much to Mr. Zach and the leadership of this platform for according me this rare and timely opportunity to be part of this masterclass as the guest speaker. First of all, as I open this discussion, I would like to ask you one thing. What is going to sustain that which you are working for? What is going to sustain that which you are working for? I understand on this platform, we have people that have different ambitions, people that have got different dreams. Others dream owning banks. Others dream becoming those best photographers like Mr. Blaze. Others dream to become those baristas that will be respected on this platform. But the question that should be for your mind is one thing. what is going to sustain that which you are working for. It is very easy to work for something. It is very easy to bring opportunities on your platform, to bring opportunities in your life. But the question, like I asked, what is going to sustain that success when you acquire it? I would like to take you through a journey that success, no matter how hard you're working and how much effort you're putting in, as long as there is no component of success in your building, you will lose it all. It doesn't matter whether you have a law firm named after your name. It doesn't matter whether you have that media brand that carries your name. It doesn't matter whether you have that big company that is making a lot of moves in the world, recording those massive speed of growth. If there is no component of character, you're going to lose it. Let me just open this podium now to ask you, what is sustaining that which you are working for? Let us just reflect. What is sustaining, what is going to sustain those papers that you're having? You're not sleeping at night, studying all night long. And the question is that, what is going to sustain those papers in your life? That is the question. Take time and think about, what is that thing that is going to secure that which I'm working for? I want us to think about it. I believe we have thought about that which is going to sustain our success, our businesses, and all endeavors of our lives. But I would like to take you through a journey that Jesus Christ describes as the actual building. When we go through the book of Matthew chapter 7, verses 24, the Bible says that he that hears these words will be likened like to that wise man that builds his life on the solid rock. The wind will blow, but yet the house will stand firm. The rain will come, the storm will come, but yet the house will still stand firm. It will not be moved. It will not be shaken because its foundation was built on the rock. And it continues, look at how it continues. But he that does not follow these words, he that does not put these words into practice, look at what he says. He says now, he is like a foolish man that builds his house on sand. And at those storms of life, the turmoils come, the rain come and hits the house so badly. Great was its fall. Just go ahead and tell yourself, great was its fall. Great was its fall. Great was its fall. Imagine, let me break it down now. You are having a business that is having a basic capital of $100. Through your dubious means, you manage to acquire $1 million. Then you lose it all. How is the pain? How much will it pain you that you lost $1 million? US dollars. Compared if you lost the $100 that you had in the first place, the pain is very different. Because by that time that you acquired the $1 million, you would have accorded yourself opportunities to dine in those luxurious restaurants, those beautiful places. You would have had the opportunity to interact with the great minds, despite your way of business not being clean. So the Bible is saying you have acquired this success that you have acquired. But if you have not built those things that you are doing, if you have not built your character, great will be your fall. We have read about great men that became great business tycoons, journalists that became world-based journalists. But because they never built their character, they were involved, on the peak of their success, they were involved in things that ended up putting them in prison, that ended up destroying them. So it is very good as young people to understand that what we are building, if at all we don't put in place our character, will be one of those that are going to act upon. I'm telling you the truth. Will be one of those. Why? Because our character is not in place. My fellow young people, I would like to tell you that everyone can dream and everyone can acquire the success that we're looking for. But what matters is if you can sustain that which you are working for. If you can sustain that which you are working for, you live long and you live to see the fruits of your labor. It may take a long time for a person without character to be exposed or to lose that which they have worked for. But believe you me, time comes. Can you just remember, maybe the ministers, I understand that there are different people coming from different countries, but just try to connect the people that you knew that were great, that ended up in problems that not even money could rescue them. I'm sure we know people. What lacked in their building? Character. And the Bible clearly tells us that unless God builds, they that build, they build in vain. It's not that they are not building. Let me just repeat that phrase again. Unless God builds, the builders build in vain. Unless God watches over a city, the watchmen watch in vain. It is not that the watchmen are not there. They are there, but they are watching in vain. Are you building with the presence of God in what you're doing? Are you building with the presence of God? Or you are building because you are seeing others building? Are you honest enough to tell the truth? Are you honest enough not to steal from someone because you have seen someone driving a Bugatti? Are you honest enough to follow the path that is right to acquire money? Are you honest enough? That is the question that should be before our minds as young people. That is the question that should be before our minds. Let me tell you, you cannot hide your character. You can never hide your character. There are people that, let me give you a life experience. When coming to Russia, we had an orientation where each and every one of us came with our parents. We sat in a very executive place, with our mics in front of us, dressed smart, and breaking down those points and asking the leadership department of us, by that time it was called Bursaries Committee of Zambia, which is responsible with giving sponsorship to students. We sat there. There were investigative wings that were addressing us as well. And all of us, we looked like normal children, normal young men and ladies, good looking, handsome, with their ties like mine, very tight, such that it even wants to choke you. Until then, we embarked on that flight to Russia. No sooner, as they say, did the plane land in the Russian International Airport, others, they completely changed. They completely changed. I would like to tell you, not many have reached where I've reached right now. And it is not bad. You have got different paths in life. But one thing that is so disappointing is losing the opportunity because you did not take time to build on the word of God. You did not take time to enhance and keep that which God has given you. To each and every level where you reach, there is always a temptation to use a route that is not in right standing, that can cause you lose even the things that you genuinely work for. Others were expelled from the university 2 years down the line because of lack of their responsibilities, taking up responsibilities. Others ended up in problems such that others are serving jail sentences. My fellow young people, as you are dreaming, I would like to leave you with one thing. Remember that God is the one that is going to sustain that success that you are dreaming of. If the president would appoint you as a minister of your country, as a minister, as a representative, as an ambassador, are you sure you are going to serve in that position for 5 years without you losing the opportunity? Or maybe you are going to be one of those that will be an example that don't be like this one. Ask yourself that question. Take time and build your character. Let truth be truth in your life. Let your no be no. Have values that are going to make even elderly people get attracted to you. Because that is how the life of a person that is building their character awaits for them. They stand before kings and queens. So that in Toastmasters, we are taught to summarize our speeches. I believe with the little that I've shared, you have been touched. And now I leave it to Mr. Zach. Thank you very much. Mr. Zaksa.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can now get you.
Oh, so I was actually talking to myself then. So I was trying to express our delightment in your speech, having shared from your passion and heart to the young people. Thank you so much that you've given us an opportunity for us to tap into your wisdom, to tap into your intelligence as a young man, that we are truly grateful. Moving on, I would like to just perhaps re-echo some of the points that were shared by Mr. Mlanda. I think he did pose a question that we all should reflect on, and that is, what are we building on as young people regarding our dreams, regarding our aspirations, regarding our wants, our wishes, the things that we want to achieve? What are we building on? What is that one thing are we carrying on the path of success, that it may guarantee us or give us a promise assured of having success firsthand and not failure? Just to top up on the question also is, what shall we consider of priority in the journey of success? Is it our personality or our character? We need to understand the difference that lies between the two key aspects: personality, character. These are not the same. Character is that which will make you stand out on a hill and not fall like the Tower of Babel. You will not fall no matter what. You will continue to grow and begin to achieve that which you've set out for your lives. So I think when young people understand what personality is and what character is, it sets us apart. Personality is not constant. Personality is timed. Personality is that which we can pick up when we're in a different environment. Personality is important equally as character, but what assures us to achieve in life is character. So with that said, I think we are now being 35 minutes past 19. We can move into a question and answer session where we can just have some kind of a discussion where you could ask your question to Mr. Mlanda, or even just ask a question to those that are in attendance, and then we can then share relating to how we as young people can manifest the God kind character in what we do in our passions, in our career, in our academic pursuits, and any other relevant fields, really. So the floor is open to anyone that may have anything to say relating to the topic. That is what a God kind character does look like. Okay, Dr. Arts, you can go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you so much, sir, for the great opportunity. I have a question. Can somebody manifest their purpose outside them knowing God? Because I, for one, have seen quite a number of people that are doing really great things. And in other words, they're really making billions, running billion businesses, and doing so very much well. Does it really mean that they've not yet discovered their purpose? Or maybe one can only discover their purpose when they get to know God, or maybe it is possible to discover your purpose, yet you do not know God.
What a wonderful question, Dr. Arts. Thank you so much for that question. Before I share my perspectives to that question, if there's anybody within that would like to share, that would be nice. So I think this question is, before we start training, she's supposed to, how many are we? Are we going to work one?
Hello.
Go ahead, sir. You can go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So thank you so much. Yeah, I'll just share my view, my point of view. So I think someone can succeed in life without having a good character, but as Mr. Mulanda said, the Vera said that to sustain it, you need character. And also, we saw that he got character from the scriptures, saying, "Unless the Lord builds the house, the builds but in vain." So, without the character, the building or whatsoever you've built, or whether the success you have attained, with time it will crumble and it will fall down. Then coming to purpose, I think when someone, for example, succeeds in life, I don't think that means they really know their purpose. They might have succeeded in a certain area, but that might not necessarily mean that they have succeeded in their calling. So a calling and purpose, it's one thing. It's called the reason for living, and that can only be found. I believe that can be only be known through knowing the mind of God for life. I think that's it. Because, for example, in a manufacturer, for example, makes something, or for example, makes a remote, you will put, for example, in the menu, the functions of each and every button. So the same way when God has created us, and the manufacturer, for example, when he has created the remote, he knows that there needs to be a connection between the TV and the remote. And so that remote, the use of the remote is, for example, to help the user not to go to the TV directly to press the buttons on the TV, but to be able to do it, to place or to change things, stations or channels, from where they are seated. So that's the purpose of that remote. So the same way when God created each and every one of us, he has, given us a purpose. He created us for a certain reason. That's called the purpose. For example, say Jeremiah 1 verse 5, where Jeremiah was saying that you knew me before I was even born, before I was formed in my mother's womb. So from here, we can see that God knows each and everything about us, and He's our manufacturer. So I think, from God, when we know our purpose, we can only know our purpose by, being in line with God's will, God's word, building our character on His word, and whatsoever we do, we'll build. That way, it is sure that we will not fall. Our success will forever move from glory to glory. So that's my contribution. I don't know if I've answered or I've tried to answer the question.
Outrightly, you have. Thank you so much for sharing with us your view regarding the question that was asked. I can see a hand from Mr. Emmanuel Muchape. Perhaps we could also hear from him. If you have a question, you can simply raise your hand. Then you share with us what you think regarding the question that has been asked of us. Mr. Emmanuel Muchape, you can share your view, sir.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mulinde, and special greetings to everyone who is tuned into this awesome meeting. Am I audible now?
Very audible, sir.
All right. Yes. So just before I air on my contribution, I'd like to is anyone in here with a Bible nearby with them? I'm Emmanuel, God with us, so don't worry.
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay. So I would just like us to open our Bibles in the book of Proverbs 18, verse 21. There's a very good question. If those of you who are not following through, this man of God, I'm even afraid to stand even before him in this place. But anyway, if you have been following him, he was asking us so many questions, right? He was asking, say, what's going to sustain the success? And then now in the book of Proverbs 18, verse 21, the Bible reads, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Allow me to read it once more again. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Now, this verse is a little vague in the last phrase. What do you love, death or life? The one we love will eat the fruit of it. Now, will we eat the fruit of death, or will we eat the fruit of life? Anybody's word are spirit. Jesus is not only the one who uses words of the spirit. This is according to John 6, verse 63. So the difference between him and us is that his words are always life. His words are always abundant, eternal, and everlasting life. They surge the air to move us, our hearts, our minds, our spirits in the direction that they're moving in. So if we would yield to them, we can be carried along by them all the way into the kingdom of God. This is why there is life in them. Unfortunately, the same cannot be said of any of us, that our words are life, because oftentimes our words carry death with them. They do not go forth in the best attitudes, baked with unclear understanding of what is really going on. And too often we speak too harshly and emotionally. What the Bible calls spirit cannot be communicated. It is almost as if it surcharges the environment. The words and the disposition of, or rather the environment in which they are delivered and received, are important in its communication. Now, how many times have we said something to somebody who became confused, upset, angry, or frustrated? And what have we said? And we had to apologize or explain further by saying, well, that's not what I meant. Yet, that's how the receiver heard it. The things we communicate, the things that we communicate to our recipient is what they will hear. So, communication is terribly a difficult aspect of life. And just to add on with the discussion which we have here, if I'm just going to give us just one more last Bible verse. This is taken from the book of Proverbs 25, verse 11. Proverbs 25, verse 11, the Bible says, a word apparently spoken is like apples of gold in pictures of silver. So Jesus said in John 6, verse 36, that his words are spirit and their life. These proverbs add that anybody's words are what the Bible calls spirit. There is nothing material, nothing visible happening, but words and attitudes. Words and attitudes generate emotional attitude and behavior reaction. They can induce and compel powerful reactions such as murder, and on the bad side, or rather joy. So where we just have to communicate, there will be happy on the good. Yet nothing really happens except spirit passing through one person to another. So nothing touches us but the meaning of the word. So it is very important that how we communicate to people, because that is the onset of success. Believe you me, if today you are going to go for a job interview and the first thing which you are asked is, what are you bringing to the table? What are you bringing to the table? Your first answer is what is going to grasp the mind of your employers. Even if you're a teacher, you want your children, your students, your pupils to pass. How you introduce a topic on the terms of speech really matters, because it is from there that people either pay attention or they won't pay attention. So our words, our attitudes, and our character really matters, especially to us who are called Christians. We need to emulate the word Christianity, because in itself lies a very broad definition of Christ-like. So if we ought to do things that are not Christ-like, I don't see the reason why I should be called a Christian. I thank you.
That was quite a hefty and profound perspective that has been shared by Mr. Emmanuel Muchape. We thank you so much for having shared those powerful words and wisdom. I think he said quite a lot of things. I'm certain we were following through, and he's hinted on the most key aspects that relate to a good, kind character. I'm sure you've heard that he's mentioned about communication and how kingdom citizens, those that reflect the good, kind character, should be able to communicate with one another. He's also touched on an aspect of relationship in terms of how do we relate with those that may not be in proximity with where we live, or in the same environment where we're coming from. Do we relate with them in a godly manner, or do we relate in a way that reflects that of the life of Jesus Christ at the end of the day? I think he's shared quite profoundly. But then, just on another issue, I feel that should be hinted on is that a true son of God, a true daughter of God, will exhibit always life full of light, and full of an eternal being, an eternal attitude. That is a spiritual connection to the Most High. And that is something that's very key in us as young people, understanding literally every field, every facet of our lives, in every little thing that we do, be it in sports, be it in business, be it at school, be it at the office, be it at the market, wherever we are, we should always show the life of God. And the life of God is that life that shows light. It gives us room to showcase to the world that we are different, we are full of life, we are full of love, we are full of care, we are full of understanding, and we are full of light in itself, really. There was a question that was asked much earlier, which our two colleagues, friends, have shared their perspectives and view. I thought I could also share mine to that regard. I think I may have hinted in my preamble that character is that which sustains us. Unlike the Tower of Babel, that couldn't stand still for quite a long time, with character, we create ourselves, or we fix for ourselves a foundation that can stand centuries and centuries to come, and will forever stand. That is what character does for us. One other thing is that character is like a pyramid, the Egyptians' pyramids that we may have heard of, that up until now and centuries back and up until now still have a historical touch, a magical touch that people still reflect on and admire and appreciate. That is what character does. It makes you old, but still appear to be new in the modern society, in the current society, in the current environment, in the now reality. It makes you stand out and just be that person that there's a certain wow factor that character gives us. And I've always, in the many forums that I've been called to speak, I've always made sure that I made mention of this very important fact. And that is when the young people, the men and the women, the girls and the boys, awaken to this great understanding that character is like fire that is lit and etched upon the sky for all to see, for all your deeds to see, for every person to see. Character cannot be a candle that is lit, then we cover it. Then it simply means that we want to be in a dark room. But I think the Bible does even highlight on this fact very well. He says, "Who in his rightful mind will light a candle and then suddenly put a basket to cover the candle that is lighting? You would light up the candle, and you want the candle to be seen by everybody, to give you light, to see in your academic path." I think awesome perspectives, awesome views have been coming through. Let's see if we have anything in our chat box. For those of you that may not be possible to share with us orally, I think you can utilize the chat box by just typing in your questions and any other perspectives you'd like to share with us relating to how the young people can fully utilize or harness the power of character in their in their careers and their pursuits. Let's see. Okay, we have some awesome feedback in the chat. I'm building my character. This is awesome for Mr. Miracle. I wish I could listen forever. Well, this is awesome. Thank you so much. We have, thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed your presentation. That is, I'm sure, going towards Mr. Mlanda. And then on point, awesome feedback, showing the enthusiasm that you have for this topic that we have at hand. Any other questions? I think we are like for 5 minutes to winding up. I would surely, Mr. Adrian.
Yes.
Please go ahead, sir.
On the issue of character,
yes.
which is which defines someone's, or which defines a person's behavior. Does it really matter that a person balances up between humility, which is humbleness, and wickedness? Because I've seen like a number of things in this society where people that are wicked sometimes or at some point are treated in a way that shows that that shows to the society that that's how, or that portrays the picture that wickedness to some point is better and humbleness is bad. Let me make a scenario here. Let's take, for instance, this is a humble person. He does what is right to the society, and the society takes advantage of that particular person. And here is a person, a wicked person that is called by the society, does bad things that the society does not like. But to some point, the society appreciates the fact that this person is wicked. Does it matter that someone balances up the two, or someone falls for humbleness, which is humility?
Wow, what a question there. What a question. Anybody would want to share their view on that question? Mr. Mlanda, sir?
Yes. Can I take?
Sure, go ahead.
Sure.
Please.
Yes. First of all, I would like to mention and to bring to your attention that the matter that you're a Christian does not make you humble and foolish. I'm sorry to use that word, because I've seen many people consider humbleness as saying yes to everything. First of all, as a Christian, you ought to understand that there is time to say no. And there is time when a person is asking you for something that is not in right standing with your principles, you say no. for a person to take advantage of me because I'm good, then sometimes, most of the times, that maybe there is a point that instead of acting, I chose to say, let him think that I'm good. Honestly speaking, I'll not allow you to take advantage of me because I'm a Christian. I'll not allow that. I'll not allow a person that is, for example, serving with me, steal, and let them go scot-free. They ought to face the punishment and the consequences of their act. So we have to understand that because you're a Christian does not divorce yourself from acting according to the way that you're supposed to act when it calls upon you to act. When a child makes a mistake, because you're a Christian father, you're a humble father, so-called humble father as the society knows you, doesn't mean you are not supposed to beat your child. I grew up with my father beating me so badly, such that when I look back today, I say, wow, he did justice. Because it is through those beatings that I'm who I am today. Neighbors could come. Why do you beat your children like this? Why are they children right now? I can honestly tell you they are drunkards. But my father saw that for this boy to be disciplined, it doesn't matter what the society says I am or talks about me. They were talking about him. He likes beating the children. They never knew how stubborn we were. But he foresaw it. If I let my children go in this path, they'll go astray. So understand this very fact, that just because you are a Christian does not mean people should take advantage of you. People should take advantage of your family. People should take advantage of your business. Stand. Stand. A person comes and borrows money. Then you say, I'm a Christian. I will not tell them about the money that they borrowed. Go to them. Tell them this is the business. I am working in the business. You have to pay back the money. So understand that there is a difference between, people should draw the margin between humility and doing that which they ought to do. Don't be a person that waits for people to say, he's humble, he's what and what. Yes. Let you stand on the principles no matter what. Stand on the principles to say, I'll stand on these principles no matter what people say. Because most of the time that we look for the applause from people, we want people to say, he's humble. At last you are walking like this. No. To those that consider you humble, let them consider you humble. But don't divorce yourself from acting when it calls upon you acting. Thank you very much, Mr. Zach.
Awesome. I can see this one is a hot one. Can I get Mr. Gift Kangale? Is it? Sorry, I hope I pronounced it right.
Yes, Kangele.
All right.
Mine is actually a contribution to what Mr. Solomon has just said. I don't know if you can get me.
Loud and clear, sir.
Yes, I've loved one word that Mr. Solomon has used at the end, which is principle. I think principle by definition is a fundamental truth or a proposition that serves as the foundation for a system of belief or behavior. And really, we're going to discover that character is what is going to determine your behavior. So really, character is based on principles. And he said you should remain true to your principles. It doesn't mean you should allow people to take advantage of you. You should remain true to your principles, but that shouldn't divorce you from taking action. And then we're talking about a good character. So now where do we get these principles? I think these principles are drawn from the Bible. So everything is laid out plain and clear. And that's why a principle is being defined as a truth. And we're referring to the Bible as our truth. So there's not really anything that we can add to it or remove from it, but we simply assume. So we're assuming this God character in line with what is outlined in the Bible. So really, I think we should have a set of principles, and these principles, we should draw them from the Bible. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. I am enjoying learning and tapping into your wisdom, sir. Thank you so much. Can we have Mr. Let me give an opportunity to Mr. David Ndumba to speak, then we can have Mr. Emmanuel to share his view. Mr. David, sir.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. Evening.
Can people get me? Can people get me?
Loud and clear, sir.
Oh, thank you very much. Actually, one of the most things that has really caught my attention and the things that has just been talked about is the issue of character. Character. Just like what Mr. Solomon Mulanda, the Vala, said about character. You know, character will sustain you. And I think I'll just add a little bit of what has already been spoken on. A lot of things have been said, but something has just been pressed upon my mind and heart to maybe amplify more in my perspective about character. And one major thing we've basically come to see is that there are people who are very charismatic, but without character. That stands out to mean that whatever ideas they're going to express is not going to really run to an effective position, because they do not have something that is really backing them up. There are people who are gifted without conviction. You know, conviction is one of the things that really comes from a well-defined character. There are people who are powerful without principles. There are people who are intelligent but without morality. There are people who are very spiritual but without conscience. So all these things are coming on board because there's general lack of a pure understanding of what character stands to mean. And in my own perspective, and according to what the Vala and the rest of the great minds have really spoken out, I've come to fully authenticate the idea that the only character that can give you the finest breed in your endeavor or in your pursuits is nothing but the character that comes from Christ. Meaning, imitate Christ as you are in your pursuit to understanding more of character. I would have said more, but for want of space and time, I really end there. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. David. That is so profound. Thank you so much. Can we hear from Mr. Emmanuel?
Thank you very much, Mr. Zach. And allow me to borrow this proverb which says, spare the rod and spoil the child. Now, my comment on character is taken from the book of Mark 8, verse 35 to 36. But I'll dwell most on the verse 36. Allow me to read. The Bible says in the book of Mark 8, verse 35, for whoever wishes to save his life will lose it. But whoever wishes to lose his life for my sake and the gospel's sake, the same will save it. For what will it profit a man if he will gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? For whoever is ashamed of me and my words in this adulterous and sinful generation, of him also will be the Son of Man be ashamed when he comes in the glory of his Father and his holy angels. Now, my quick one on character is, I want to draw much on 36 here. Mark 8, verse 36. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and loses his own soul? Mr. Solomon Mulanda has been always talking with this principle of asking you questions. Now, this time around, it's not me, it's not Mr. Mulanda, but it's a Bible asking you to say, for what will it profit you if you win the whole world and then lose your own soul? That is why Christianity is not just a thing whereby today you just wake up, no, you want to be a Christian. No, it has to do and build on character, because character is what really defines you. And for you, a Christian, you as a Christian, you are determined by what you do in secret. I end there.
Awesome, 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 wonderful, wonderful. I've noted Mr. Miracle has raised his hand as well. Mr. Miracle, share your perspective, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Am I audible enough?
You are, sir, you are.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would love to recognize the presence of Mr. Solomon Davala and Dr. Arts, Mr. Gift, and esteemed members that we have and leaders. Thank you very much. And I've noticed that we've been talking about character, and we are likening it to godly character. So looking at our proverb, our Zambian proverb, our God is a champion. So I believe if our God is a champion, we are also champions. Now, who is a champion to leadership perspective? A champion is a person who plays a role in somebody's life. The question is, what role do you play as you are venturing into your path of life? Yes?
Yes. Translate the proverb. We are having our sisters and brothers also from other countries.
Okay, so
yes.
The proverb which says it means let's say a child of a snake is also a snake. So if our God is a champion, then we are also champions because we are children of God. Okay. So looking at the fact that we are talking of character, character is not just a mere word. Character has a lot of aspects that can add up to it. We've got the likes like self-awareness, we've got responsibility. And I would just love to tackle on one part, which is self-awareness, looking at to time. So self-awareness, this is the ability to focus on yourself and how your actions, thoughts, or emotions do argue with your internal standards, okay? So if you are highly self-aware, you can objectively evaluate yourself. You are able to manage your emotions. You'll be able to align your behavior with your values. The question is, what values do you have? What kind of values have you worked on? And there are a few importances of self-awareness. I'll give you about 5. Number 1 is it gives a better understanding of what you want or need. So you find that you're building on character, then as long as you are self-aware with who you are, with who you want to be, you find that you start having a certain kind of knowledge of what you want and what you need. So you find that increase your chances of getting what you want or need because you've understood what you want. So it will also increase your chances because you start learning and following the procedures of how you get what you want. Number 3 is that it improves your decision making. Why? Because you know you are self-aware. So you find that you start understanding, saying, okay, I cannot make this decision. I need to make this decision because if I do, positivity, or rather it will bring things that I need. And number 4 is that it helps you manage your emotions. So we already talked of this. So it will help you manage your emotions. Why do we continuously talk with emotions? When you're building your character, if you do not deal with this part of emotions, you find that you spent years working on your name. You will just lose your name in seconds. I love the example of our own Minister of Education, our former Minister of Education. What did he do? He spent years building his name, but in seconds, his name diminished. Number 5 is that it leads to healthier reactions to external factors. You don't just react to external factors, but because you know you're self-aware, you don't just portray yourself anyhow, but because you're a person of value, you will know how to react to external factors. Thank you
very much. Mr. Miracle, you're done? I didn't get the last part though. But that was awesome. Thank you so much for having outrightly and most profoundly share a perspective that's so passionate and full of emotion and right for the heart to hear. Thank you so much, Mr. Miracle. Mr. David Ndumba, is that the second hand or it's from the earlier one? I should think it was from the earlier one that you had raised your hand. I'm looking at time. Since we're talking about character, character also is about having to stay within the circumference and the frame of time. When we make an agreement to stay within this time and within this time, we shall do this and that. I think we should be people that agree to that. We may have started a bit late, so that's why we've had the 10 minutes inclusion into our meeting. But with all that has been said, I'm so pleased and delighted in my heart that you've shared powerful perspectives, views, and opinions relating to this subject that we've had. And I'm certain that those that are in attendance have picked one or two ways in which they can manifest a God kind character in their lives, in their careers, and in just all their endeavors in life. I would like to thank Mr. Vala Mlanda Solomon for having shared his great wisdom that he's kept for quite a long time. I've known him. Awesome. From Zambia YMCA, we are very thankful that you took time to share your wisdom. I think before we close, I know I should be giving you a good 2 minutes to just echo your last remarks. But before then, there are two things I noted. We can say these are just questions that I would like to pose to everybody. First thing is, who is right or who should be right between the majority or the minority? This is a question that I always ask. If we want to determine what our next course of action should be relating to a certain scenario, a certain circumstance we found ourselves in, relating to the question that was asked, if we should strike a balance between being wicked or holding on to humility, because generally society pays more those that are wicked and not those that hold on to humility. And this is fact. And as we go on and on with our lives, there's going to be a strict adherence to, or some kind of rewarding more to those that are slightly wicked and not those that hold on to the fundamentals of life and the principles, due to the fact that our world is moving into a world of lawlessness, where we do not want to conform to what the principles of life state. We are choosing to want to be people that create our own rules, far away from what God wants us to be. So who should remain right in that very vein, in that very circumstance, in that very reality, when we are pushed to the wall and say, this is what the world is doing? Would you do it? Who should be right? So that's the number one question. The second question is, how shall we harness the power of negation and affirmation? How shall we harness the power of saying no and saying yes at the right time? So I think I will call upon Mr. Vala Mlanda to, in a space of 2 minutes, to just share his last remarks and perhaps also touch on the two questions that I have hinted. And we can have two people share in also, then we can close our meeting and practice what we've learned. Mr. Vala, sir.
So thank you very much. I really appreciate Mr. Zach for hosting me once again. I would like to recognize the presence of Miss Letitia. Thank you so much for your presence. It is highly appreciated. Mr. Mwanakasele, Mr. Gift, Mr. Miracle, let me say, Miss Olivia, all of you on this platform, I would like to appreciate your presence so much. You have divided your time so that you can be here. Thank you so much, Mr. Blaise, Mr. Alan. Thank you so much, sir. The Vibrant, I really appreciate. Mr. David, I really appreciate. And Mr. Emmanuel and Mr. Adrian, all of you on this platform. Miss Cecilia Tembo, I really appreciate. So closing now, coming to the closing remarks. You asked, was it a question, how can one enhance their time, right? Or maybe you want me to close and give the closing remarks, sir.
Sure, you can go ahead and close for us, sir.
All right. So thank you so much. I really appreciate for this great and awesome opportunity that YMCA Zambia has accorded me today. I don't take it lightly because I understand that there are many young people, vibrant young people on the face of Africa and Zambia, but you dropped on me to say, okay, he can deliver. So the thing that I want you to think about as we dispace this meeting, let me tell you, don't limit yourself in dreaming. I always tell people that I work with, saying, don't limit yourself in living your dream. You might have ended up like me, a nuclear power engineer, but I've immensely and intently followed my passion despite being a nuclear power engineer. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do right now. I'm studying as a nuclear power engineer, but at the same time, I'm following my dreams and my passions to make sure that I'm fulfilled. So as you are building for the God kind of faith or for the God kind of character, remember that God is not a failure. He's a God of greatness. So don't limit yourself as a Christian. I'm saying this because I've seen that Christians want to occupy underdogs positions. Take your place in the world. Take your place. If you want to become that good economist, study very hard to become that best one. And by the grace of God, God is going to help you with his mighty spirit to help you achieve that dream that you have always wanted. If you want to become a politician, go ahead and become that politician and act like one as we are developing the God kind of character. So thank you so much. I really appreciate for dividing and creating time for this meeting. Until next time, as we are meeting on different platforms, and remember to treat each and every person that you meet with love, care, and character. You don't know what tomorrow brings. Thank you so much, sir.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Vala. Thank you to everyone that made time to attend this meeting. Until such another time, thank you so much. Mr. Emmanuel, I see your contribution that you've shared in the chat. I think we should reflect on it. Due to time, we may not discuss it further, but please let's ponder on the question that have been asked. Who should be right in the time that we are pressed on the wall and we have very little time to decide who should be right? Is it us, you and your principals, or they that have pushed you to the wall and are saying you should do something else? Due to time, thank you so much, Mr. Vala. Thank you so much, and your crew also that came through to the meeting. Thank you so much to Mr. Emmanuel and everybody else that did come through. Until another time, for now, it's bye and thank you.